Hello, MGTOW. Hello, men. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. So, I want to talk about women who love weak men. Now, in my daily chores, I'm usually riding around town on a bicycle, right? And it's usually very early in the morning, and especially in summertime because it's really hot out here. Riding around in serious heat can make you kind of sick, and it's on a very regular basis. So I end up seeing interesting developments throughout my neighborhood. In any case, I noticed a particular house. I noticed a slightly middle-aged couple, early 30s, moving in to a house. And occasionally I would see the man out there working on the yard, doing home improvements, things like that. I could also see his vehicles. He had a couple trucks. Then there was I don't recall, but I'm sure there was a family car or two as well. Occasionally. And it was a strong-looking working man. As I said, early 30s maybe, mid-30s maybe. And looked like he worked in one of the trades, because he was trim and fit, and, he had the trucks. And he was working around the house a lot. Occasionally, I guess I would also see his wife. Pretty woman, but, getting older, mid-30s maybe, getting a little larger. But you could tell that, she was an attractive woman, and I didn't think too much of it. This is over the course of one summer, over the course of a year, okay? And I notice one day that the house is for sale, all right? And I think, oh well, worked a lot on the house. It's not a great time in the market, but for whatever reason, the house is now for sale. And occasionally, riding by, I would see the man out there working, give him a friendly nod now and then. That's about it. And then, I may have mentioned this, before in another video, but it's worth mentioning again. And then one day, a weekend, I'm riding around in the neighborhood, and I noticed that they're having a garage sale. Okay, it's actually a big garage sale where everybody in the neighborhood decides to have a garage sale that weekend. So lots of traffic moving around. So I pull up to the house. Maybe there's something there that I can use, maybe some sporting equipment, something like that. Maybe some tools, maybe some good power tools. And I see the man in the background, maybe, getting stuff out of the garage, doing this, doing that. And I see the wife moving around, charming the customers, right? Answering questions, stuff like that. And she glances at me on my bike as I pull up, and she just looks away. Now, I'm a very, fit and healthy looking man. I don't know if people can notice, but, you can notice the difference between somebody who drives around in a car versus somebody who doesn't use a car. Right. And it's even, you can even tell the difference between myself and a working man. A working man is very fit and very strong, right? But he's usually pretty tired and, he wants to sit down, so there's that kind of dragging of himself, from place to place, even though he's very fit and very strong. Whereas if, somebody who doesn't use a car, it's not like that. It's kind of you can just move differently over time. So the wife barely glances at me, okay? She's not paying any attention to her husband. You can tell that the relationship is kind of messed up. And at this time, there's a big truck pulling up. No bigger than her husband's trucks. And the wife is waiting. She's checking it out, okay? And out of the truck, the door opens, and there's this fat, little, balding man, okay? He can't even, turn around to get out of his truck. The truck is too high up for him and his short, elderly legs. It's like a meatball, okay? So he has to turn himself sideways and hop out of the truck onto a stool, like a step board on the side of the truck, and then step down onto that. And I think he's got a family member or a close friend with him because they come waddling around the other side of the truck, and they look pretty much the same, but a little younger. And the man starts to waddle across the street, right? Moving side to side, using his weight to swish back and forth so he can get a little momentum to move the weight forward. And, it's painful. It's a sad sight to see. You know what I mean? I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, well, thank God you don't look like that. And I'm pretty sure the working man is looking over at that and saying the same thing to himself. But then I looked over at the wife, okay? And it was amazing, right? Because her face lit up so fast. And from across the yard and across the street with several other people in the garage sale, okay? And half a dozen people moving around in the area. You know what the wife does when she sees that man waddling out of the truck? Her face lights up. She puts a big smile on her face. She doesn't know him, okay? It's pretty obvious. But she then, stands up and she turns towards him and kind of jumps up and down like a little girl and lifts up her arm and starts to wave and screams across the yard, across the street, "Hi, come on in. We've got a lot of stuff. I hope you like it. Come on in. Oh, I look over." And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is going on here, right? I'm kind of confused. The man, he just kind of looks at this and just kind of shakes his head and looks away, right? The fat man and his friend are now waddling across the street, and it takes them a while. You know what I mean? This is going to take half a minute for them to get across the street. And I'm already leaving, right? Because I don't like the disrespect. The fact is, I've probably got more money, cash, in my pocket to buy stuff than these guys waddling out of the truck, right? But the wife doesn't know that. And that's why she's ignoring me. She's ignoring her own husband, whose house she's selling. And she's being friendly to some fat guy in a big truck. Right? To her eyes, okay, that was the real man. Because he had money and he was a fat waddling piece of shit. Okay? There was no in with me. There was no way she could get anything from me, right? The only thing that I wanted was sporting equipment. No amount of smiles, no amount of giggling was going to make much of a difference to me, and whatever they wanted for, the sporting equipment, I was going to offer them less. Like I was doing them a favor by taking it off their hands, which indeed that was the exact situation that was going on there. So I got on my bike and I left, disgusted. And I felt sorry for the man, because he was a hardworking man who's getting good results in the world, trying to build a family, and the wife, which was not, I use that term, she was just a manipulative, aging girl. So the fact was that because the man had the big truck and he was a fat, waddling piece of shit, and, I don't mean anything personal about it, I just mean that he'd never taken care of his health, she saw him as an easy mark. So what we're talking about here is the differential in the sexual market value and the women using that to control the men. And the larger the differential, the worse she's going to behave. And the easier it would be for the woman to cuckold and cheat on the man. And the more likely she would be to do so. A few weeks later, that house was sold and they were gone. And, I felt sorry for the man that he had a wife that was essentially a whore, in her whole character. I mean, that was her character, that of a whore. So the good men that were in her life and in her neighborhood, she ignored. She was not kind to them. But the strange men from outside that looked like they had money and were an easy mark, those were the men that she would smile at and go over to and talk to. So, I have to be careful what I say and the way I say things here on YouTube, right? You're probably thinking, well, this is a pretty long story. Why are you telling me this, Howard? Who do you think you are when the woman comes over to you and is talking to you? What is it that you think she sees you as? Do you think she sees you as a strong man? As husband material? Somebody that she wants to be submissive to? Someone that she wants to have a division of labor with? And from a simple, engineering point of view, you must understand that that's what this is. This is a division of labor, right? This is the sexually dimorphic species. It's a division of labor. One member does one job, the other member does another job, and they get this larger job accomplished, okay? That being reproduction. The men can build the tools, can build the nests, can gather the resources. The women use those tools, use the safety of the nest to get the resources for themselves. They don't need the men. So they're only interested in the men that are actually weaker than them and, look up to them. that they can then cuckold and manipulate. So that's why she was leaving. You know what I mean? That's why the relationship was breaking up, because she was losing her attractiveness. He was becoming more disciplined. She could not control him. The sexual market value was changing. She was more interested in fat waddling men who had money because she could set the terms with those men. Don't be that man. The women want you to be that man. They'll compliment you. The other man, the hardworking, disciplined man who gets stronger and gains experience and builds his strength and wealth, she can't deal with him. She might try, but you know, she's hitting the wall. She's losing her sexual market value. She's getting fat. She's unable to reproduce. She has a bad attitude, right? She's looking like 5 miles of bad road. So I'm going to leave it at that for now. Let me know what you think about this in the comments section below. And please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate, and join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan to have more content for you. Thank you, MGTOW.